Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, Stipe Miocic is gearing up for a significant title fight against none other than Jon Jones at UFC 295, where he finds himself as the underdog once again. Miocic hasn't fought in over 2 years. His last bout ended in a brutal loss to Francis Ngannou in 2021. At 41 years old, age could be a factor, but Miocic remains unfazed by the odds and the critics. In his preparation for Jones, Miocic has focused on adding size to his frame to avoid being outsized by his opponents. He's aiming to weigh around 245 pounds for the fight. While Jones is considered one of the greatest fighters in MMA history, Miocic isn't intimidated and believes his strength, speed, angles, and punching power will make a difference in this fight. There's speculation about Miocic potentially retiring after this fight, but he's concentrating on reclaiming the UFC heavyweight title and defeating one of the sport's all-time best. This matchup is highly anticipated, and it's what both fighters and the fans want to see. So there's a lot to cover here. So obviously, Stipe Miocic believes that he is the underdog, and rightfully so. Jon Jones is probably the best mixed martial artist of all time, if not one of the. And he had a really great showing against Cyril Gane in his last fight. And don't get me wrong, Stipe Miocic, he's had a great career, but he's had a long layoff, a super long layoff. He hasn't fought in a while, so we don't know how that loss to Francis Ngannou actually affected him, as a fighter, whether it affected him negatively and took away some of his confidence. But from what I'm hearing and what I'm listening to and what I'm reading with all these reports is that he feels good. He's in good spirits and he's very confident coming into this fight. But all these, they could just be words. They could just be a cloud of smoke, because like I said, Stipe Miocic has not had a fight in a while, and he's 41 years of age, which I feel he is farther from his prime. But I still feel like he could be dangerous in an octagon. It could be a real threat. Like, let's not forget, he was a champion, and he defended his championship and is considered as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. So I applaud Stipe Miocic for remaining confident, right? For thinking still highly of himself despite him losing to Francis Ngannou. He's still talking like he's one of the greatest of all time, which I 100% applaud him for, right? He shouldn't be taking this fight if he doesn't think that he could beat someone like Jon Jones. But honestly, just a little bit of concern with what he says and how he talks about his training regime. He's trying to put on size, right? He's talking about being bigger. Like, that's a huge concern that he has, right? He goes on, right? He goes on that he doesn't want to be, smaller coming into this fight with Jon Jones. And it's a little bit concerning to hear, that a fighter is a little bit more concerned with how much bigger he's going to be against Jon Jones instead of having a linguistics about, being a better fighter, more polished fighter, talking about game plans, strategies, techniques, schemes, setups, which in my opinion, it's much more important to have in a fight, than just being worried about, oh, am I going to be the same size or am I going to be bigger than my opposition? So that's just a little bit of concern that I have, but it might be a big deal, it might not. There's just some things that I pay attention to whenever I hear professional fighters talk about their training regime. I think the biggest theme surrounding this story and this fight is whether or not, Stipe Miocic is going to retire if he loses. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you he most likely is going to retire after this fight, especially if he loses, which there's a high likelihood that he is not going to come out this fight with the belt. And that's, if Stipe Miocic gets absolutely ragdolled and outclassed, I will not be surprised if he just puts his gloves down and retires from the sport of MMA and ultimately leaves the UFC. 100%. I have no doubt in my brain. I have no doubt in my soul that if Stipe Miocic just comes in there and gets absolutely trucked by John Jones, whether he gets submitted or he gets beat up, you know, in the standing, he's more likely than not gonna leave the sport, without a doubt. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I'm very curious to know your guys' thoughts, to know your guys' opinions about every point that I made in this video. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Peace out.